ball drops in for strike 3. That was a beauty.
Moving onto the track. Will make the catch. Did you see that play?
He's so smooth. He makes it look so easy.
Absolutely demolishes it.
That ball just jumps off his back, doesn't it?
Hits the center field.
Get out of here and gone! On a Sunday afternoon, we find ourselves in the National League Central in Milwaukee, Miller Park. In a normal season, tailgating, this place would be nuts. This is a great rivalry in the Central, and this is game 3 of this series, split a game apiece, the Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. Hi everybody, I'm Rich Waltz along with Ron Darling. It has been a mad scramble, Ron, to get to this point in the Major League season. What are the next 2 weeks going to look like? There's only 2 weeks left in this season.
Well, thinking about these two teams, Milwaukee, it's going to be a long haul. They've really got to win every single day. And luckily, the Cubs have put enough distance between them that they're going to be in the postseason.
The postseason picture in the National League looks this way. There's the comfortable space for the Cubs in the Central. Braves are doing fine in the East. Now, where are these Brewers? Look at them, a game and a half back behind the 2 wild card teams. Remember, first and second place in a division gets you in. Wild cards right now are San Francisco and Miami. And yes, San Francisco is playing that doubleheader against San Diego today. Last night, the Brewers, who won game 1, thought they had game 2. This is Ryan Braun. This is 4th inning. That's a 2-run homer. It's a nice bat flip as well. And the Brewers got to the 9th. The best reliever in the National League on the mound. Had not given up a homer all year, but Josh Hader taken deep. Jason Hayward with a 3-run shots, and the Cubs had the lead. Not 1, but 2 home runs. Ildemaro Vargas with a solo shots, and the Cubs came from behind to even the series. And Jason Hayward right now is one of the Cubs, and there are some guys that are slumping, but he's one of the Cubs, Ron, right now that is hot.
You know, they really haven't hit only 32 runs in their last 11 games that went 5-6, but Hayward is having his best offensive season as a Chicago Cub. That home run last night now gives Hayward the most home runs of his career he's had against Milwaukee. And a 3-run shot against Hayward, that means 4 runs scored against Hader. Hader had not only given up 3 runs before that big hit.
Well, the contrast to Jason Hayward on the other side with the Milwaukee Brewers is their MVP and a former MVP in Christian Yelich. The riddle is, how do you solve Christian Yelich and his difficulties at the plate? We'll take a deeper look as the Brewers and the Cubs get ready to go.
A moose knocks you off your bike.
Oh, an animal equivalent of...
Yeah.
The Misery Index premieres October 20th on TBS.
This is a must-win. Everybody's antennas up.
It's on.
Great matchup here in the second round.
On display, on the line, on fire, on point. The NBA is on course to define a new moment in its history. The NBA playoffs on TNT. Coverage continues.
Tara, did you know Geico is now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies?
Wow, okay.
That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Idina Menzel to sing your own theme song?
Tara, Tara, look at her go with a fresh cup of joe, getting down to work early, following her dreams into taxidermy.
It's tax attorney.
I read that wrong, oh yeah!
Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th.
I always like to stay inside the car. We can be loud and nobody tells us to be quiet.
That is a shoulder compliment.
Nobody's judging you for what you order. You can get one of everything if you want.
When you're in the truck, it's judgment free.
Celebrate from anywhere. Catch up from anywhere. Dine in from anywhere. Anywhere is possible when your vehicle is serviced with Jiffy Lube Multicare. Your skilled technicians are here to help keep you and your vehicle moving forward. Anywhere is possible with Jiffy Lube.
MLB on TBS is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. By T-Mobile, America's most reliable 5G coverage. And by Arby's. Arby's, we have the meats.
Only 77 miles separates Wrigley Field and Miller Park. You always see Brewer fans Down at Wrigley, you see Cub fans up here. Christian Yelich struggling right now, striking out more, struggling against right-handers. And it all started back last year. He was having an MVP season. Probably would have been the MVP had this not happened. September 10th at Miami, broken kneecap, fractured it. And it did a couple things. It took him out for the rest of the year, and he did not get any live at-bats in spring training. And so the question is, how does Yelich get back to where he was, Ron Darling?
Well, when you think about it, he didn't play baseball for about 10 months. How does he get back? Well, it's really hard for a guy that's used to being at the top of all the triple crown categories. Can he come back? Of course he can. I think what you have to do is compartmentalize the season and say, hey, listen, whatever's happened is gone. For 2 weeks, be the Christian Yelich, the MVP kind of player.
It's hard to do that for players, though. We've heard it throughout the American League and the National League because a 2-month season, 2 weeks left, everything is so condensed. Everyone feels they've got to produce right now.
Well, you knew what was going to happen. I mean, you're going to have guys have unbelievable seasons. You're also going to have really good players get off to bad starts. That's what has happened to Yelich. But like we said before, he can come back and have those 2 weeks and carry a ball club. We've seen him do it for the Brewers before.
That's a good point. A lot can happen in just 2 weeks. It's been a fun series so far. Great comeback by the Cubs last night. Brewers really need this one. It's Milwaukee. It's Chicago. And from Miller Park, it's coming up.
The shift has begun. The ante's been upped. To lead the charge, good had to be amazing. And amazing had to become the expectation. The power has shifted.
Now with Ram Power Days bonus cash, get $7,300 in total values on the 2020 Ram 1500.
Arby's new prime rib cheese steaks. Because a great cheese steak should start with a great cut of steak. Then finish by telling all your friends how great it was and where you got it. Arby's, we have the meats.
And a high fly ball.
Hey kid, think fast.
Hankook Tire.
Ready to go. Roof is closed in Milwaukee. Brewers take the field. Ready to go with the Cubs and the Brewers. 65 degrees under the roof. Cubs lineup brought to you by Ram, built to serve. Ian Happ has been terrific in the leadoff spot. 4 leadoff homers, leads baseball this year. Anthony Rizzo had the night off except for that big pinch hit in the ninth last night. Wilson Contreras, the DH. Kyle Schwarber's in left. Javi Baez showing signs of life with a couple hits last night. We talked about Hayward. Jason Kipnis gets a start at second. Victor Caratini behind the plate. And Chris Bryant has the day off, so David Bodie is in the 9 spot.
Well, Rich, I saw your studio temp is 58 degrees. They're trying to keep you cool there in Atlanta. Adrian Hauser has a big arm. You see his numbers have not been great. Power sinker, power slider. We talked to Craig Counsell. He said really he's young in his development as a starting pitcher. 2 things he's got to do better. When the game is on the line, runners in scoring position, he's got to be better, and he's got to get left-handed hitters out. He's dominated right-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters have got the best of him. And defensively, well, you can't play a game until the pitcher throws a pitch, and he will to his battery mate, Jacob Nottingham, who's getting his 7th start this year. It's his 2nd stint with the Brew Crew. You see their infield, Jerko, who's played a lot of 3rd and 2nd at first. Sogard, who's played a lot of 2nd, gets his first start in 11 games. He's been struggling with the bat. And in the outfield, Avisel Garcia has made his last 27 starts have been in center field. Of course, Yelich in left. And Ben Gamel is in right.
Brewers have been very solid defensively. They lead in fielding percentage, middle of the road in defensive runs saved. And here is Happ. Happ and Hayward. That has driven the offense for the Chicago Cubs. Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras will follow. And Hauser, the 27-year-old, the former Astros second-round pick, goes to work. And that fastball misses out. Lots of ground balls. In fact, he's the leader in the National League in ground ball rate. And Happ fouls that one back. Switch hitting is Ian Happ. And 1 for 8 in this series, but his slash line is solid. 12 homers, on base at a .386 clip, and slugging close to .600. In the air, Arcia, or that's Sogard on the shift, and Sogard makes the catch. And we're underway with an out. Anthony Rizzo comes to the plate. Brewers last night got a terrific pitching performance, as they had for the last 3 games, by a squadron of arms. Brent Suter made an emergency start. Brett Anderson was scratched. And they got to the end of the game with the guys they wanted, Devin Williams and Josh Hader. And one of the biggest at-bats of that 9th inning was by this man, Anthony Rizzo, who took an 0-2 pitch into right field for a base hit. And that followed the Baez single and set the stage for the Hayward home run.
So the guys who have struggled got on base in that 9th inning and made it happen against Hader.
There's that sinker. And that's the hope, really, Ron, is that something like last night can propel somebody to a great 2 weeks, get Baez back on track. The strike, it's 2-1.
Rich, you have to remember, these are great players, some of the most elite players in baseball. So if anyone can do it, they can. That being said, I think it's hard for great players to look up there and see 213, 203 when they see those kind of numbers.
What did David Ross tell us today? That for players that are struggling, it's usually the crowd, the electricity in a ballpark that takes them away from their numbers. Without fans, he said, a lot of guys can't escape their numbers right now. And that high fastball strikes out Rizzo.
Well, you've seen now in just 2 short batters what kind of arm Hauser has, and his ability, if he locates, to really dominate some hitters. You see this fastball. He's a sinker ball guy, but can elevate when he gets ahead. Controlling the count is the key for Adrian.
Now Contreras, I think National League managers have enjoyed the designated hitter, the ability to get a guy like Contreras on a Sunday, a day off from behind the plate, but keep the bat in.
I think we also should appreciate it for the fans when they come back to the games. You know, that means that some of the best catchers in the league, whether it's Real Muto or others, on Sundays will be in the lineup as opposed to on the bench.
So you think that rule sticks? You like
big time.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that you know, the people that are hardliners and would love to see National League baseball, that has gone away. I think that fans and young fans of today's game want to see 9 hitters, and that'll stay.
Wilson Contreras, a good month, and obviously hopeful that that gets them all the way to October. Does not have a hit in this series.
You know, Rich, you were mentioning before that Brett Anderson was scratched. Milwaukee did a great job getting that ball to Hader in the 9th. It did not work out, but what it has done is put a lot of pressure here on Hauser. They need some length from Hauser this afternoon. He's only averaging a little over 5 innings per start.
And David Ross would like to get into that bullpen early, just like they did last night. And he chases And Hauser with a clean first inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Cubs. Milwaukee gets their first swings. Cubs and Brewers in Milwaukee.
We think it matters where meat gets its start, like a pasture, serving grass a la carte. And cut to grill like a pro. Well marbled and juicy. Whoa. At Whole Foods Market, we raise our meat right. Show-stopping taste in every bite.
What if you drove an SUV that paid attention, even when you didn't? Like the Hyundai Kona. The first car in its class that monitors steering and lane position in order to alert tired or distracted drivers. Driver attention warning from Hyundai, the brand with more 2020 IIHS Top Safety Awards than Honda or Toyota.
Get 0% APR for 60 months on the 2020 Kona, now with complimentary maintenance. Only from Hyundai.
Introducing Slices and Sticks. 4 slices of pepperoni pizza together with 8 Italian cheese sticks. A combination as unexpected as the Saxa telephone.
Hey, Mom.
New Slices and Sticks, just $6.
Pizza, pizza.
This week on The Upper Hands, special guest Flo challenges the hand models to show off the ease of comparing rates with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. International hand model John gets personal.
Your wayward pinky is grotesque.
Then, a high-stakes patty cake battle royale ends in triumph.
You have the upper hand.
It's a race to the lowest rate and so much more. Only on The Upper Hands.
Brewers lineup brought to you by Ram, built to serve. The scoreless start for the Cubs. Avisail Garcia leads it off. Christian Yelich in the 2 spot. Keston Hiura, a really nice sophomore campaign. Daniel Vogelbach has had some good swings lately. Jed Jerko at first. Ben Gamels in right. Orlando Arcia, the shortstop. Sogar gets a start at third, and Nottingham is behind the plate. And this is Alec Mills, the 28-year-old out of Cunningham, Tennessee.
Well, when you see Alec's numbers, he's been really strong for this Cubs team. They were really light, some injuries to their starting rotation. His last start against the Reds, 6 shutout innings.
Garcia slaps that one foul. A solid year for this center fielder for the Brewers. See the slash line at 366 on base. Not a lot of power. He's an interesting guy in that his frame necessarily doesn't play into his position or his numbers at the plate. He's 6'5", 240. And yet he plays. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when he came up for the Tigers, Rich, you know, everyone thought he was going to be the next Miguel Cabrera because he kind of looked like him. He's the same size as him, middle of the order lineup guy, and now leading off.
But he's played well in center field, and he's done a nice job at the top of the lineup. He was an all-star with the White Sox in 2017. Had a good series, 4 for 7 in this series, and a high fastball. And the count full. Yelich, Hiura, Vogelbach. Ryan Braun has the day off. And of course, Braun had the 2-run homer that provided the Brewers for all of their runs last night. Into right center and well hit, and Hayward is there to run it down.
Well, defensively, the Cubs are solid around the diamond. Alec Mills this afternoon is going to be throwing the ball to Victor Caratini, the second catcher for the Cubs. Good player in the infield. David Bodie, you said, gets the start at third base. Baez has probably got as good a glove as anyone in the game. Kipnis over from Cleveland, and Rizzo a great defensive first baseman. Hayward is the best of the outfield bunch with all that gold. Happ in center, Schwarber in left.
And here is Yelich now. And we've documented the struggles, in particular in this series. 0 for 7 with 6 strikeouts. And a big breaking ball for a strike. It's 1-1.
Boy, that number we showed in the open, 164 against right-handed pitching, is almost impossible to believe when I saw it.
Pounds it on the ground. And there's 2 outs. Craig Counsell talked just what you referenced, talked about Yelich not seeing live at bats in spring training. And once the struggle started, maybe pushing and pressing a bit. Of course, the Brewers lost a lot of power off of last year's team. I think about Moustakas with 35 homers. Grandal had 28. Thames had 28. That's a lot of pop that they lost from last year. Here's Hira, young second baseman out of Southern California. In his second year, he had a really nice start to his career. University of California at Irvine, an anteater and a great one. Big West Player of the Year in his rookie campaign. 84 games, 19 homers, 23 doubles.
I think everyone knew that Hira was going to be at a hit at this level. Is whether he could play defensively at the major league level, and he's proven so far that he can handle himself at second base.
He's been a frequent target of pitchers this year. He leads the league in getting hit by pitch. 2-2.
You know, with Mills, we really have to watch his ability to control his fastball. He's not a hard thrower. He's got to use his 4-pitch mix, but he's got to throw strikes with that fastball. Every single one has to count.
2-2 is out. This kid was a walk-on in college at the University of Tennessee Martin, and a 22nd round pick of the Royals in 2012. And here he is, out Keston Hira. Both pitchers look sharp in Milwaukee.
Celebrate from anywhere. Catch up from anywhere. Dine in from anywhere. Anywhere is possible when your vehicle is serviced with Jiffy Lube. Your skilled technicians are here to help keep you and your vehicle moving forward. Anywhere is possible with Jiffy Lube.
There's something magical that happens when Arby's combines melted provolone, fire-roasted peppers, and prime rib steak. Ta-da! Arby's, we have the meats.
Let's go, Peloton! Welcome to your 30-minute full body strength. Yes, you can, Peloton. Come on. Nice work, Lisa and Denver. Keep it up. Way to show up, Peloton. Amazing work. You absolutely crushed it.
Fresh prepared meals made by chefs and nutritionists, fully cooked and ready to eat in 3 minutes. Wow, that's good. We don't have to cook anymore.
We don't have to cook anymore?
We don't have to cook anymore!
You don't have to cook anymore with Freshly. Now you can get nutritious, delicious meals delivered right to your door. Go to Freshly.com today.
Scoreless start, Miller Park, Cubs and Brewers. Adrian Hauser goes to work. And he does a lot of his work on the ground, his best work on the ground. His first pitch to Kyle Schwarber is in.
See that 2 pitchers for the Milwaukee Brewers are on that list. Rennie Dobnak for the Twins has had a fantastic season.
That's the pitch right there, Ron, that usually gets the ground balls, that sinking two-seamer. Schwarber 1 for 7 in the series.
You know what's interesting is that before the start today, Adrian Hauser had 52 games in the major leagues, half of them starts, and his numbers in the bullpen are amazing. His numbers as a starter are very mediocre. And I thought Craig Counsell had a great way of putting it. He said, well, in relief, I get to pick the hitters that Hauser pitches against. When he starts, the other team gets to pick the hitters that he goes up against.
Well, there's switch hitters and lefty bats in this Cub lineup, obviously, with the Schwarber and Rizzo. Happ a switch hitter, Caratini a switch hitter, Kipnis is in there. And David Ross did not call over and ask Craig Counsell for his advice on the lineup. You're right.
Left-handed batters this year batting .358 off Adrian Hauser. That's the worst of any pitcher, right-handed pitcher in baseball, if you take into account 75 plate appearances or more.
Hauser came with Josh Hader in the trade with Houston. Mike Fiers and Carlos Gomez going the other way. And Schwarber is aboard to open the second for the Cubs. All right, Ron, we've talked about Christian Yelich and his struggles this year. Javi Baez, what do you see with the Cubs star shortstop?
Well, you know, he's resorted to some of the bad habits he had earlier in his career. He's always been a guy who's a free swinger, so he's going to have a high chase rate. The difference has been the last couple of years when he was an MVP kind of player. His average against the breaking ball was strong, good. But this year, his average against the breaking ball has not been good. So a lot of chase, a lot of swing and miss. He's still been able to drive in some runners, 20 RBIs on the season. 19, sorry, on the season. But that batting average about 70 points lower.
On the ground, Arcia Hira with the turn. And a nice double play ball, and that's how Adrian Hauser makes a living.
You know what was interesting, Rich, is that Craig Counsell had a unique perspective on Baez, on the opposition player, when he said, you know, when I think of Javi Baez, I think of an entertainer. I think of someone that loves to play before a packed house. And he thinks that him playing with no fans in the stands, some players are affected more than others. Baez might be one of those.
Here is Hayward. It's interesting, Ron, because both Craig Counsell and David Ross in our pregame chats referenced the lack of fans. And they talked about the electricity, especially Counsell, that this series in particular, and this rivalry, especially now that the Brewers have been a prominent postseason team over the last 2-3 years, has really heated up. It's always been a good one. There's only 77 miles between the two ballparks. But the electricity of a series like this would be off the charts. These, you know, the Brewers routinely draw 2.9, close to 3 million a year. Wrigley is always sold out, it seems. And you almost have to bring your own juice. And the 2-0 misses out, and Hayward sitting on a 3-0 pitch.
Well, those corrugated plastic cutouts are not going to do it, although they look great.
I think to really simulate the Cubs and Brewers in this ballpark, you need to sprinkle in some Cub fans, because a lot of Cub fans make the trip up to Milwaukee, and there are Brewer fans that find themselves in Wrigley. Hayward takes outside. And a couple walks for Hauser here in the second. He got around the first with a double play ball from Baez, and here is Jason Kipnis. The splits for this right-hander, you touched on it, troublesome in terms of the left-handed hitters.
Well, we've seen him give up 2 base on balls to both the left-handed hitters, but sprinkled in there, the right-handed hitter Baez hits into the double play. So Hauser's success this afternoon will depend upon how he pitches to the lefties in the Cubs lineup.
Kipnis takes in. Illinois native. Certainly special for him to be wearing this uniform. 9 years with the Indians. A couple of all-star teams, 4 different postseasons, including the World Series loss to these Cubs. And that's the pitch.
So far you see Hauser, Rich, not getting that call from Chris Siegel. You would like to see, if you're a sinker ball pitcher, the umpire kind of opening up that bottom of the strike zone.
A strike to Kipnis. Hauser grew up in Oklahoma. Was a high draft pick, 2nd round pick out of high school. Had a scholarship to play for the Sooners, but signed with the Astros. And like many pitchers in the major leagues, he, along with the other starter, Alec Mills, has had Tommy John surgery. His Tommy John surgery, a little more recent, in February of 2017. That knocked him out of almost all of 17, and he was injured much of 16. Hayward back over to first. Hayward not running as much as he did early in his career, obviously. Just 1 stolen base attempt this year, and a fastball up. Kipnis is around the count, full to 3-2. Hayward on the move. Kipnis fouls it off. Brewers rotation at the top has been pretty darn good. Corbin Burns has been terrific. Brandon Woodruff was spectacular on Friday night. He's been solid. There's a lot of managers in baseball right now that say, you know, my first 2 guys are really good. After that, there's a lot of question marks. I think David Ross could say the same. Kipnis to center. It's Garcia back and then in, and he has it. Adrian Hauser works around a couple of walks. We are scoreless in the second.
I browsed 8 sites for divorce attorneys today.
I browsed 8 sites for divorce attorneys today.
I love working with you.
Me too.
Red heart emoji.
Blue heart emoji.
I hate Lee though.
Puke emoji.
Puke emoji.
My heart rate is currently 150, 151, and back down to 150.
On March 15th, I purchased prenatal vitamins and 4 pregnancy tests.
The number on my credit card is 0237 1221
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. 10,000 perfectly placed stitches. 16 beautiful speakers beating with 1,400 watts of power. The performance of 617 thundering horses, and 0 to 60 in 3 awe-inspiring seconds. This is the M8 competition, the most powerful BMW
ever.
Introducing Slices and Sticks. 4 slices of pepperoni pizza together with 8 Italian cheese sticks. A combination as unexpected as the Saxa telephone.
Hey, Mom.
New Slices and Sticks, just $6.
Pizza, pizza.
Vented where you want it. Cool when you need it. Cool Zone Fly from Fruit of the Loom.
From a scale of 1 to, oh my God, watch what happens when teams compete to rank life's most miserable moments. Join host Jamila Jamil and the stars of Impractical Jokers for the all-new episodes of The Misery Index, October 20th on TBS. This is Vogelback. He takes a sweeping breaking ball for strike one. Vogelback, Jed Jerko, Ben Gamel for the Brewers in the second. And Daniel Vogelback is starting to heat up. He certainly was cold in his previous stops with Seattle and Toronto. 20 games, he hit .088, but he's hit in all 5 games as a Brewer. And when he gets hot, he can really carry you. He has crazy power and an all-star last year with Seattle. And he hit 30 home runs.
But you know, Rich, in this, sorry, Rich, to cut you off on this truncated season, how difficult, right? I thought he was a fixture in Seattle, gets DFA'd by them, picked up by Toronto, DFA'd by them, and picked up on waivers from Milwaukee.
And Mills strikes him out.
Now another guy who doesn't throw awfully hard, Mills, but he threw 2 slow curveballs and a changeup to start that at bat, and then just showed him fastball late that got by Vogelback.
Kyle Hendricks is kind of the prototype for a guy like Mills, and fastball command, according to his manager David Ross, is probably the most important thing.
I'm thinking Mills could probably, if Hendricks starts against the same team he's going to be starting against, just use the same sequence. Hendricks, of course, is a different level because his preciseness is so good, but Mills aspires to go there.
Hendricks last night, 7 2/3, 2 runs. The 2 came on the Braun home run. That's a good breaking ball. It misses out. On the 0-2 to Jed Jerko, and he's breathed life back into his career. An injury-filled season last year for a guy that has power as well. He had a variety of injuries last year. Back, calf, wrist, and hit just 174. 1-2.
So from Mills, you're going to see a pretty straight fastball, a sweeping slider, the slowest of curveballs in the 60-mile-an-hour area, 65, 66, 67, and a changeup. So all 4 pitches he throws for strikes.
Count still 1-2. I know before the game you were admiring his glasses.
Yeah, I'm one of those kids that started wearing contacts when he was 9, 10 years old. So the glasses were not, sporting glasses were not good in those days. But they're pretty attractive and sharp now. If I played today, I certainly would wear glasses instead of the contacts. He looks good.
Really?
Yeah, contacts are just, the dirt and the dust and all that makes it difficult sometimes.
Can make you look a little more intimidating out there too sometimes. Jerko to center. Happ on the run, and he has it. Ian Happ still learning out there. Came up as an infielder. He's played a lot of different places. Makes a nice play on the track.
But no, he's gotten better and better in center field, and I think part of it is because they've kind of left him alone and put him out there day in and day out. I think moving different positions made him semi-mediocre defensively at all of them. But now that he's really playing center field and center field for most of the time, he's gotten exponentially better.
And the fact that he was a middle infielder in one of his positions, second base a lot, certainly helps playing in the middle of the diamond. Ben Gamble, sort of a Brewer legacy. His brother Matt was a Brewer for 5 years. Jacksonville native. And his bat has started to perk up. Mills has retired all 5 he's faced. Has struck out 2. Hasn't walked anybody. High Sox.
Sweet look. Day game.
Shin guard on.
You know, the Milwaukee offense has been a little better lately. 29 runs the last 6 games. So look at that leg attire by Gamble. But 19 of them came against the Tigers a couple of days ago.
And there's your first walk. And we'll bring up the shortstop, Orlando Arcia. Well, the Brewers they're a different team, obviously, offensively than last year. Not as powerful. Last year they hit 250 home runs. They average a homer and a half a game. That was 3rd in the National League. Home runs are down this year. They also stole a bunch of bases last year. They were 3rd in the National League in stolen bases. And they've swiped just 15 this year. And I mentioned that the home runs that they lost from last year's lineup with Moustakas, Grandal, and Thames. But they really missed Lorenzo Cain as well, as he opted out on August 1st. In the clubhouse, on the field, in the outfield, at the plate. They miss his presence. Hit hard on a hop. Kipnis takes care of it. Alec Mills solid through 2, still scoreless.
Wendy's famous 4 for $4 is heating up with the new Spicy Crispy Chicken Sandwich. And yes, you can get it with spicy nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $4. Is it getting hot in here? Or did the Queen of Spice just deliver the hottest deal in fast food?
Celebrate from anywhere. Catch up from anywhere. Dine in from anywhere. Anywhere is possible when your vehicle is serviced with Jiffy Lube Multicare. Your skilled technicians are here to help keep you and your vehicle moving forward. Anywhere is possible with Jiffy Lube.
Geico's been helping people save money for over 75 years. They've really stood the test of time, much like these majestic Rocky Mountains, which must be named after the Rocky...
That would be Rocky the Flying Squirrel, Mr. Gecko, sir. Obviously.
Come on, Bullwinkle. They're named after...
First President George Rockington.
That doesn't even make any sense, Mr. Winkle.
Geico, over 75 years of savings and service.
This is amazing.
Incredible. We don't do Christmas in my house. We do Halloween.
Oh my goodness.
You want me to stick that on there?
This is way larger than life. These are my nightmares.
Make sure it's scary.
It's Tricky Treats.
That's nasty looking.
And Scary Eats on Halloween Wars.
That just happened.
Season premiere, Halloween Wars, tonight at 9. Only on Food Network and Food Network Go.
You know what beats next day shipping? Getting it the same day. With Ace, you can buy online and get free in-store pickup or get it delivered that day. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their stuff.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Today we say so long summer and hello fall with the new DQ Fall Blizzard menu. There's festive pumpkin pie, tasty new caramel apple pie, and more. Craving fall? Find it at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Race for the postseason is on. Catch all the action from around the league online or on your favorite devices on MLB.tv. Now only $24.99. Visit MLB.tv. Good crowd, sort of, in the cardboard section. Victor Caratini, David Bodie, Ian Happ against Adrian Hauser. The Cubs have a couple of walks, and that's it. Hauser's also struck out a pair. Caratini behind the plate. Wilson Contreras is the DH in this ball game. A fastball misses up. Ron.
Yes.
Where did you play your Little League baseball?
Well, I come from a small town outside of Worcester, Massachusetts, which is right in the middle of the state, called Millbury.
Fastball is fouled back. Did you have any famous teammates or other guys that went on to out of that Little League to play in the big leagues or do something special?
I mean, I don't have any special stories other than we were one game away from going to the Little League World Series from a town of about 10,000. So that would have been pretty cool. But no, I did not.
Well, the most notable in my Little League, and I grew up in a town in Northern California, Martinez, California.
I know where it is. Across the bridge.
There you go. Jeff Van Gundy was not on my team, but he was in the league. So the Van Gundys are Martinez folk. But Adrian Hauser's youth team, 1-2 pitch is down low. You know that Oklahoma produces a lot of major league pitchers.
That's right.
And he's from Locust Grove, Oklahoma. And now it's not just Little League teams, but it's travel ball. And his travel team had a pretty impressive rotation. Hauser was joined by Archie Bradley and Dylan Bundy. That was the rotation for the travel team of 11 and 12-year-olds.
I just can see some 11 and 12-year-old kids in tears after those games, right? On the other team.
Yeah.
You know, the travel teams have changed, kind of like what you get as Caratini goes down on strikes. They used to be, you played Little League, so you were either the best player on your team or your village or town. As we see this good sinking fastball from Hauser. But now with the travel teams, these guys play against the best competition around the country. And that's why I think they're more prepared at 20, 21 years old to shine.
Here's David Bodie. Bodie getting the start at third base. Well, that's the upside. The downside is for baseball, in particular with travel ball, it puts up almost financial hurdles for some of the kids who are from lower income families because travel ball is expensive. And I know that's one of the things that baseball, Major League Baseball, is trying to combat, is making the game more affordable and more accessible to those that can't afford the $300 bat or the, travel to the tournament in Florida or Arizona. And that's a very important thing and a very important initiative for Major League Baseball. Bodie in the 9 spot. Hauser misses down low.
Well, that's certainly not the case this year because of the COVID, right? But you're right, 100%. The Little Leagues were the big place where you learned how to play ball, and the expense for playing in Little League was nominal compared to what travel teams are.
In the air, you can hear Keston Hiura calling for it. There's 2 outs, back to the top of the order, and Ian Happ. But you're right, the level of instruction, high level instruction for youth baseball all the way through high school and even college players. We both played college baseball. You were a Yaley. the level of instruction is at an all-time high, and the players that enter professional baseball, you're right, are much more polished, much more skilled than, say, 25 years ago. Ian Happ popped out his first at bat, second time through for the Cubs against Adrian Hauser, who looks sharp and in command. The pitching's been really good in this series. Not a lot of hits on either side. Brewers won 1-0 on Friday, and of course the Cubs scoring 4 times in the 9th for a 4-2 win last night. Hauser thought he had the strikeout and started towards the dugout. Actually thought he had a strike. I'm not sure where he was going.
Good slider, or a curveball maybe from Hauser there. Thought it caught down and in.
Hit sharply. Shift has got him. Wide throw, and Happ is safe at first. And that's Arcia. And remember, he's the shortstop in that shift, and he pulled Jerko way off the bag.
That's just a loose play by Arcia there, kind of the play that you don't want to see your infielders make. You know, a little more attention to detail, a better throw, but good hustle by Happ to get down that line.
That's an E6 at 4.
Yeah, right.
Now Rizzo. And Rizzo goes after a high fastball. What have you seen from Rizzo? I mean, his last 9 games, he's just 4 for 32. He had the big hit last night.
Well, what I'm seeing is he struck out on a pitch above the strike zone. First pitch here by Hauser, he's fishing for a pitch out of the strike zone. Rizzo, when he's at his best, very rarely chases a pitch out of the strike zone. He always gives you tough at bats, fouls off pitchers' pitches until he gets a pitch he can handle.
Terrific year last year. His on base was over 400. His batting average was close to 300. 27 homers. And a fastball that runs away. He chases. And then Hauser with another strikeout and a solid 3 innings under his belt.
Introducing Schwab Stock Slices. For as little as $5, now anyone can own companies in the S&P 500, even if their shares cost more. At $5 a slice, you could own 10 companies for $50 instead of paying thousands. All commission-free online. Schwab Stock Slices, an easy way to start investing or to give the gift of stock ownership. Schwab, own your tomorrow.
The Hyundai Kona, the first car in its class that pays attention, even when you don't. The longer you look, the more there is to like.
Get 0% APR for 60 months on the 2020 Kona, now with complimentary maintenance. Only from Hyundai.
And a high fly ball.
Hey kid, think fast.
Concrete Tire.
Your mission: stand up to moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis and take it on with Rinvoq. Rinvoq, a once daily pill, can dramatically improve symptoms. Rinvoq helps tame pain, stiffness, swelling, and for some, Rinvoq can even significantly reduce RA fatigue. That's Rinvoq relief. With RA, your overactive immune system attacks your joints. Rinvoq regulates it to help stop the attack.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious infections and blood clots, sometimes fatal, have occurred, as have certain cancers, including lymphoma, and tears in the stomach or intestines, and changes in lab results. Your doctor should monitor your blood work. Tell your doctor about any infections, and if you are or may become pregnant while taking Rinvoq.
Take on RA. Talk to your rheumatologist about Rinvoq relief. Rinvoq, make it your mission. If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
Just 2 weeks left in the season. That really sounds odd to say, but not only postseason, but also postseason awards. Ron, the National League Cy Young. We've got Yu Darvish of the Cubs right in the middle, Trevor Bauer, Jacob deGrom, handicap that race for us?
Well, Darvish is going to pitch tomorrow. I think these three guys have been so good that they're not going to be allowed a bad start down the stretch. Those pitchers probably have 3, maybe 4 if they pitch on short rest starts left, and it's a great race. I mean, you could really make an argument for any of those 3. For DeGrom, of course, if it were to happen, it would be the 3-peat.
This is Eric Sogard with Jacob Nottingham and Avi Garcia due up here in the 3rd for the Brewers. Now, truth be told, did you have Josh Hader on that list going into last night?
I did. I had him on the list 2 weeks ago as one of my front runners, but then he gave up his first hit. That hadn't happened for
off the
a month.
list at that point.
I know. Then, but no, it was really last night, the back-to-back home runs.
Good breaking ball
out there by Mills.
Down goes Sogard.
The back-to-back home runs, and he gave up 4 runs last night. He had only given up 3 all season long. So I took him off the list, but he can get back on.
He might not be able to get back on today, though. He's worked 2 days in a row.
That curveball by Mills is fun to watch. Big sweeping curveball, less than 70 miles an hour. So there's a lot of different ways to get hitters out. Doesn't all have to be 97 with an 89 mile an hour slider.
Both these right-handers have had their fastball command. They've been on point. And here is Nottingham, Brewers catcher, and he takes down low. We've talked about other sports for many major league players. Nottingham, a catcher, was also a football player, offered a scholarship to Arizona, though you don't often find linebackers that end up as major league players. But Nottingham was a linebacker, offered at Arizona, offered baseball at Oklahoma. Drafted by Houston, signed with them before going to college. Good offensive player, is still learning behind the plate.
Well, I think there's more put on the plate for young catchers in today's game than ever before, with game planning and all of those analytical things that make it harder.
Kipnis gobbles it up. Top of the order, Avi Garcia. A couple of bats not in the lineup for the Brewers. Narvaez and Braun. Garcia opened the game with a line drive out to right. On the ground, shift is on. That's Kipnis, and he makes the play. Nice clean inning for Alec Mills. We're moving to the 4th.
Welcome. From now on, we are on retreat. What we're going to do is massive healing.
Lost Resort, all new Thursdays at 10 on TBS.
From the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power, introducing the new Ego Power Plus blower, the handheld blower with unmatched power. It generates 650 cubic feet of air per minute, delivering performance that exceeds the power of gas. Featuring Ego's patented 56-volt arc lithium battery technology, it runs for over 90 minutes on a single charge. The all-new Ego Power Plus blower, available at Lowe's, Ace, and Ego authorized dealers.
Critics everywhere are feeling the power of Mulan.
The girl who has come to save the dynasty.
It's a remarkable action epic.
It is my duty to fight for the kingdom.
Disney's Mulan, rated PG-13, now streaming exclusively on Disney+.
Celebrate from anywhere. Catch up from anywhere. Dine in from anywhere. Anywhere is possible when your vehicle is serviced with Jiffy Lube. Your skilled technicians are here to help keep you and your vehicle moving forward. Anywhere is possible with Jiffy Lube.
We think it matters where meat gets its start, like a pasture, serving grass a la carte. and cut to grow like a pro. Well marbled and juicy. Whoa. At Whole Foods Market, we raise our meat right. Show-stopping taste in every bite.
After 80 years, we've made it the longest lasting. But only you can forge freedom into the chassis. We make it so you can go anywhere and do anything. But only you can write the stories it will tell. Because the truth is, we don't make Jeep. You do.
Right now, get $3,250 combined cash allowance plus $1,000 bonus cash on 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee models.
This year's American League pennant will be claimed on TBS, and it all starts September 29th with the American League Wild Card Series presented by Hankook Tire. Of course, the Wild Card Series is the best of 3. 8 teams from each league will make it. We're scoreless here, Cubs and Brewers. One will play 8 in a tournament style that will get you to the Division Series and the National League Championship Series. Those series, the Wild Card Series, appear to be scheduled to be played in home ballparks. So the top 4 seeds will get the home benefits, not home field advantage with crowd, but at least home ballpark. Sharp breaking ball to Wilson Contreras. David Ross. Now he inherits a team that has been to the postseason a lot, although last year the Cubs snapped a 4-season run of postseason games, and Joe Madden a terrific 5-year run. Shift works just well here there, and it throws out Wilson Contreras. And Ron, we talked to David Ross, and one of the questions was, as someone who played for Joe Madden and was part of that culture, what did he bring from Madden with him as a manager?
Well, you know, it was interesting. He said he didn't want to change too much of the culture part. He felt that Joe had really done a great job to change how Cubs players feel about the city, themselves, their team, and wanted to really keep that going as far as freedom to let the players just be them and flourish by playing their game. He wanted to definitely keep that. He said he also remembers Joe doing a great job with pitchers maybe struggling early in the game and going and relieving them quickly to not get his team too far behind, knowing that maybe tomorrow he has Yu Darvish pitching and Yu's going to give you 6+ innings. So those are the kind of things. But what he interestingly said later to us was Joe was a big influence, but Bobby Cox, he really feels that Bobby Cox, he took a lot from Bobby and what he feels about the game today.
That should have been a strike right at the top of the box. Schwarber with the count 1-2.
Robotic umps, they're coming.
Ball in the dirt. It's an incredibly difficult job to do, to call balls and strikes live.
So hard.
And
so hard.
As broadcasters and fans, with the box is great because it's a teaching tool for umpires. It illustrates where the pitch was, but it makes the job seem simple from your couch. The pitch misses in.
I'm the son of a father that made extra money by being an umpire, and I know all the difficult things on being an umpire, and it'll be a sad day when you don't have those individuals dressed in their uniforms and doing their job. But it's just almost an impossible job. And we don't make it better. We're part of the problem, not the solution.
There are your umpires. Chris Siegel behind home plate. A couple years ago, I did a show about umpiring and sat down with a crew and talked about the difficulties of umpiring and the biggest challenges of calling balls and strikes. And they talked an awful lot about the two-seamer and the movement. And that's really changed in the game over the last 10 years. And how difficult that is, because the strike zone is essentially the front of the plate. Where the ball crosses the front of the plate, that's where that box sits. That's a strike on the corner. And when you have a guy with movement, it's tough to catch it. It's tough to call it. Did your dad ever umpire any of your games?
No, I never pitched until my last year in college.
Sogard knocks it down, A hot smash there. And Schwarber ends up at second. Baez at first, and the Cubs have something going here in the fourth.
This is a game where a simple mistake could be an issue for either ball club. Backing up to get the big hop and just didn't field it clean. I'm thinking that's going to have to be an error on Sogard.
Which means there still is no hit in the ball game for either side. And they have ruled it an error. Here's Hayward, and here's where Hauser's ground ball rate comes into play. Liner to left, and that's a base hit. Schwarber around third. He's going to score. Baez to third, and Hayward is going to get extra bases and an RBI, and the Cubs have the lead. And the man who did in the Brewers last night opens the scoring today.
This ball not hit particularly hard. It was that good sinker you were talking about, Rich, so he catches it a little off the end of the bat, but dumps it into left field. Not hit hard enough, so certainly not going to have a play at Schwarber at home plate. And good base running by the Cubs. Hayward getting a double, and Baez going from first to third.
Sixth double of the season for Hayward. First hit and first run of the game. Infield is in, and you got a veteran hitter at the plate who should know how to get him in at this point. This is this part of the game that has diminished a bit over the last few years, and that's situational hitting, because Kipnis obviously wants to get this out of the infield.
Well, this is always the battle, right? You have a ground ball pitcher and a hitter, a veteran hitter at the plate that's just trying to lift the ball and get it into the outfield. It's the battle between the cat and mouse game between the pitcher and hitter. Infield in.
Baez at third, Hayward at second, 1-1 to Kipnis. And he chased a fastball. You think about that sinker, and then he elevates, and it's tough to catch up.
You know, Rich, you have to remember, though, as a pitcher in this situation with one out, you're thinking somehow I've got to get a strikeout. So he just swung at the ball up in the zone. I would not be surprised if Hauser repeats the same pitch.
1-2. Breaking ball, little dribbler, runner comes home, and it's kicked by Hira, and safe at first is Kipnis. Baez going on first contact, got a clean break, and that put the pressure on Keston Hira.
Good call there on the young second baseman. He had to rush the play. I don't even know if he had a play at home plate. Maybe should have just taken the out. He did not, and it cost him the entire play. You were mentioning before that Milwaukee is about in the middle of the pack defensively. They're a good team, but not a flashy team defensively.
Well, how you measure defense has changed a lot in this game. Defensive runs saved and metrics like that tell you the athleticism and the ability to make plays that prevent runs. Fielding percentage, the Brewers are the best, and there's still value in making the plays and making the throws. But they've not done it this inning. The error by Sogard, and now an error by Hira. An RBI, but not a hit for Kipnis.
It's the right call. I think Baez is one of the best base runners in the game, and you saw it there going first to third and also putting the pressure on Hira with that great jump. That was Chris Hook, the pitching coach for the Brewers.
Caratini takes in. Hayward's at third. Kipnis at first. Caratini. And struck out back in the third. Middle infield back for two. Ball in the air. Shallow center, and it falls over Arcia. Another run comes home. Hayward scores. Holding second is Kipnis, and the Cubs It's not pretty, but it's a 3-run rally and a 3-0 lead.
Well, the 2 hits have not been hit on the screws, and here just dropped into center field by Caratini. A good pitch by Hauser. Neither Arcia or the center fielder Garcia could get to the ball, and Hayward scores the 3rd run.
David Bodie now. He swings over a fastball. It's 0-1. Bodie popped out his first time up. Well, neither of the hits were barreled up. Hayward dumped one into left field. Caratini dumped it into center. Mixed that in with a walk and 2 infield errors. That hit him. You could hear that as it clipped him. And that's going to load the bases.
Well, this is a little bit of everything, right, Rich, in this inning. As you said, the walk, a couple of blue hits, hit by pitch. Check swing just caught him on the forearm. So Bodie goes to first.
And this is exactly, I mean, talking about the difference between Hauser in the bullpen and in the rotation. This is exactly what Craig Counsell told us, in that he's had success in the bullpen, but as a starter, you've got to get through your own jams. And while this one may not be of his own making, for Hauser, this certainly is something he's got to get through. And now you got a dangerous bat up in Ian Happ, who leads the Cubs with 12 homers. And he smokes that one into left field. That's a base hit. Yelich has it. 2 runs are going to score. And you got Caratini coming in at the corners still. And it's 5-0 Cubs.
This is the anatomy of an inning of death by 1,000 cuts here by the Chicago Cubs. Breaking ball, middle of the plate, good hitting by Happ. He's been doing it all season long. Peels that ball to left center field. 2 runs score. Now 5-0 the Cubs. And you were talking about Hauser pitching through that inning, and we said that he's kind of young in being a starting pitcher. That will come with experience. But these are some of the hardest innings to pitch through. A lot of, errors, a walk on your own, a hit by pitch.
As we noted, that was the hardest hit ball right there, the Happ liner to left. The Hayward hit, the Caratini hit, and obviously the 2 errors. You could objectively say those were good pitches. Check over at first. Bodie not budging from third. How do you as a pitcher trust that those pitches you made were where you wanted to make it and stick with it rather than go away from it?
Well, I think what happens, Rich, is that as you get more experience, you become in the moment kind of a pitcher. And what I mean by that is that nothing lingers in your mind. Errors by your infielders or outfielders, bloop hits that hitters get, that doesn't linger in your mind. You stay in the moment. So you're just really trying to make sure that the hitter you're facing now has your complete attention. What happens to young pitchers is that you get a little woe is me out there on the mound, and you start to think that your heartbeat goes up. How am I going to get through this inning? As opposed to just executing against the hitter you're facing right now. That's the quickest way to get out of an inning.
Rizzo lifts it. And Sogard slides hard into the tarp. Counts 1-2.
Good hustle. Sogard is one of those players that has always been a great hustler, can play a lot of different positions. Smart player, has struggled offensively this year.
And even with the expanded roster, the Brewers bullpen is a little bit thin today. As we noted last night, Brett Anderson was scratched. Brent Suter came in and pitched great, 3 innings of scoreless. But then he had to hand the baton off. And the Brewers had a 2-0 lead. They got to the 8th. Devin Williams was spectacular. They handed it off to Josh Hader in the 9th. And he gave up his first 2 home runs of the season. And since both Williams and Hader have worked in consecutive days, they're probably off limits here. Suter, you would expect with 3 innings yesterday, is probably off limits.
There was a day, Rich, there was a day where you knew as the starting pitcher that if you didn't get outs and limit runs, you were going to wear it that day. What did that mean? Well, that meant that you were going to get 5 or 6 innings, and it didn't matter how many runs you gave up, you were going to still be out there. I don't know if Hauser will be in that kind of mode, because I don't think the Brewers will push a young starter like that. But he's going to have to get some more outs.
Well, this is pitch number 79. And that one just missed low.
Can really hear on our broadcast both benches. Chicago exhilaration because of the 5 runs they'd scored, and the moaning from the Milwaukee bench, and maybe rightfully so, at that what they thought was strike 3.
Pitch number 28 of the inning. At the corner, still 1 out. Rizzo goes down. There should be an alternative channel with enhanced audio because without the crowd, and that's actually added to some of the dust-ups on the field, is that there's always bench jockeying, but without a crowd, the difference this year is that everybody on the field and in the other dugout can hear it. Nice job by Nottingham to smother it. And Hauser has a strikeout. And it's back to Contreras.
3 strikeouts against Rizzo. This one on a curveball from Hauser, well placed, and good block by Nottingham.
Contreras opened the inning with a ground ball out. He's 0 for 2 and 0 for 9 in the series, though he's been one of the Cubs that swung the bat well these last 2 or 3 weeks. Haps at first. David Bodie at third. Nottingham still polishing his skills behind the plate. They like his arm. They love his bat. Ball and a strike to Contreras. Look at that, 32 pitches this inning. And
you know that some organizations in baseball, Rich, that in the minor leagues, of course, no minor league season this year, you throw 35 pitches in an inning, you're coming out. Can't throw more than that.
That was up. And now it's 3-1. Now look, he's made some terrific pitches. He's had a couple of ground balls that should have been outs.
I mean, there's a thin line between having a successful outing and one that's not so much. And Hauser is riding that line right now. I mean, you're going to look at his line tomorrow and say, boy, he didn't really get it done. But any kind of help from his defense today, and you have a different story in this inning.
Brewers bullpen is stirring. Full count now, 3-2. JP Fireeisen is the right-hander. Hauser trying to get out of it and just get back to the dugout. And Contreras fouls it back. And with that 3-2, we had movement at first with Happ. And what has been a messy inning for the Brewers. Three-two again. And it will stay that way. An all-star last year and in 2018. This is year 5 for Wilson Contreras. This is a guy that spent almost 8 seasons in the minor leagues. He's 28, Venezuelan. 24 home runs last year. He's got 5 in this shortened season this year. In the air, center field, Garcia has room. Popped out of his glove. 2 errors open the gates, and the Cubs run right in. It's 5-0.
Some resistance. Sarah, your Movie Plus trial is about to expire. Do you want to continue or cancel?
Capital One knows life doesn't update you about your credit card. So meet Eno, the Capital One assistant that looks out for charges that might surprise you and helps you fix them. Another way Capital One is watching out for your money when you're not. What's in your wallet?
You must go and I must bide. But come ye back when
Dad, is Jamie here?
It's Sunday. Sunday sing-along.
And he helped us get a home and auto bundle.
He's been our insurance guy for 5 years now.
He makes us feel like we're worth protecting. Why didn't you tell us about these savings, Flo? I've literally told you 1,000 times.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling.
I'm just gonna...
From Glen to Glen.
Fresh prepared meals made by chefs and nutritionists, fully cooked and ready to eat in 3 minutes. Wow, that's good. We don't have to cook anymore.
We don't have to cook anymore?
We don't have to cook anymore!
You don't have to cook anymore with Freshly. Now you can get nutritious, delicious meals delivered right to your door. Go to Freshly.com today.
Finding things you need and love and use every day. Things you don't find anywhere else. That's what you find on Etsy. Shop Etsy for everyday finds.
Well, 3 errors in the game, 2 in that inning, and all 5 of those runs for Adrian Hauser are unearned. Not that it makes it hurt any less.
No. Yeah, it doesn't make the medicine taste any better, I'll tell you that.
There's Yelich taking a pitch right down the middle for a strike. So 5-0. Yelich in the box. He's in the 2 spot today. Hira and Vogelback will follow, and Yelich lines that one to left. He had a very similar ball last night. He's always been a line-to-line hitter. And if you're a Brewer fan, you're looking for signs of life. And I think the line drive he hit last night and that line drive right there are both good signs.
Well, you know, if you look at the analytics, when he does put the ball in play, his barreling is not that far off from some of the MVP type seasons or the MVP season that he had. But still, they're not falling in.
If you want to take a deep dive into Yelich's numbers, baseballsavant.com is a good place to start. And you can get lost in there. It's like the department store when you were a kid with your mom.
It sounds like you got lost in there.
I did. But when I got out, I just simplified things. The numbers for Yelich: he's swinging less this year. He's swinging it more outside the zone, and his strikeout rate is up 50%. That's the simplified version of all the different analytics. I even found an analytic in there called the meatball percentage.
What is that?
It's the percentage of pitches that you get that are center cut right there in your most happiest zone. And Yelich, as an example, it doesn't get many of those to begin with because of his success the last 2 years. But he's not swinging at those as often as he has the last 2 years as well.
I thought that maybe was too much Sunday gravy, and that's why you're having a difficult time.
I think advanced analytics would be a lot more fun if you could get nicknames like that for every stat. I mean, I think you could really sexy up FIP, fielding independent pitching. Find a sexy name for that. Hira walks after the Yelich line out.
Well, Cardinals sin there for Mills. You know, given a 5 spot, you don't want to walk anybody. He knows that, just a mistake. But these are the kind of innings as a young pitcher or any pitcher. The quickest way to victory is to put up a 0 after your team has scored 5.
Vogelback has played 5 games for the Brewers coming into this one, and he's hit in all 5. He is a large man, only 6 feet tall, but is listed at 270. And as I mentioned earlier, he has mad power. And he didn't like that call. That breaking ball has been a real weapon.
I mean, it's almost like he has it on a string today. It's probably been his best pitch. He's had the best control with it so far.
Should be 2. Baez's turn is in time. Alec Mills through 4 has not given up a hit.
Vented where you want it. Cool when you need it. Cool Zone Fly from Fruit of the Loom.
Arby's new prime rib cheese steaks. Because a great cheese steak should start with a great cut of steak. Then finish by telling all your friends how great it was and where you got it. Arby's, we have the meats.
On the mound for the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw. And a high fly ball to left field.
See,
Told you pitchers can play defense.
Hey, kid, think fast.
Hankook Tire, official tire of Major League Baseball.
Introducing Schwab Stock Slices. For as little as $5, now anyone can own companies in the S&P 500, even if their shares cost more. At $5 a slice, you could own 10 companies for $50 instead of paying thousands. All commission-free online. Schwab Stock Slices, an easy way to start investing or to give the gift of stock ownership. Schwab, own your tomorrow.
The Hyundai Kona, the first car in its class that pays attention, even when you don't. The longer you look, the more there is to like.
Get 0% APR for 60 months on the 2020 Kona, now with complimentary maintenance. Only from Hyundai.
MLB on TBS is brought to you by Progressive, a grand slam for your budget. Visit Progressive.com and buy Hyundai.
In Milwaukee, the Cubs had not scored a run going into the 9th inning last night at all. And they got 4 runs there. They have 5 here, all of them unearned. Against Adrian Hauser, whose breaking ball drops in for ball 1. Just missed.
Well, Rich, this is a case that we talked about as Schwarber comes to the plate, that Hauser maybe, if they didn't need length from him, will probably be out of this game, but they're going to hopefully get at least the 5th inning out of him.
92 pitches here. 98 is his career high, and as you've pointed out, this is a guy who's made the transition from the bullpen. And certainly a guy that has deserved a better fate. 2 infield errors in that 4th inning opened the door. Some bloop hits hurt him as well. You can see
so
that.
You can see his numbers entering today. First 6 starts, so strong, but has struggled of late, and a lot of that is still around the same. With runners in scoring position, has not had that pitch or pitches to get out of innings.
Schwarber has walked twice, and he fouls that one into the seats. Schwarber, Baez, Hayward. Cubs have a total of 3 hits, all singles. Haps the most damaging, a 2-run single in that 5-run 4th. That's in. And Schwarber has walked 3 times.
Shortstop, number 9, Javier Baez.
Now Baez. Cubs are really, see the right-hander back up for the 2nd time, Fireisen. Cubs are a really interesting study on how they've arrived at 7 over and in the driver's seat in the Central, when so many of their big bats have struggled, including the guy at the plate.
Well, you know, they got off to a 13-3 start, so really are feasting on that start has got them where they are. But, you know, if you look at Baez, barely over 200, Schwarber barely over 200, Anthony Rizzo just hitting 213 coming into this game, and others. I mean, it's been a struggle, but if you look at the lineup today, they also have 6 guys in the lineup that have 20 or more RBI. In the course of a 162 game season, that would be a 75 RBI season. So everyone's kind of played a small part. No one except Happ and Hayward have played a big part.
There's a great quote from Theo Epstein in an article in The Athletic that addresses that. He said, the nature of this year, I don't think anyone's going to put too much import on individual stat lines or individual performances. It'll be remembered, this year will be remembered as how we handled things, how we did as a team.
Yeah, everyone has said to me that it's a sprint. It's not a sprint at all. It's survival. How can you survive over 2+ months?
Sharply hit and into center field. That's by the diving Arcia. Yelich picks it up, racing for second, and in there with a matrix-like slide is Baez.
Well, sometimes the shift is in perfect position, but not if it's coming off the bat over 100 miles an hour. That ball barreled up by Baez, and a nifty slide to get into second.
It's not often you get a ground ball to the left of shortstop that turns into a double. A good hustle by Baez. And that's the end of the road for Adrian Hauser. Cubs in charge in the 5th.
We think it matters where meat gets its start, like a pasture, serving grass a la carte. And cut to grill like a pro. Well marbled and juicy. Whoa. At Whole Foods Market, we raise our meat right. Show-stopping taste in every bite.
When you set out to redefine what a truck can be, you push the limits. You defy convention. You turn every ask into an answer. Because those who set the standard reserve the right to raise it. The Ram Rebel, Ram Power Wagon, and the all-new Ram 1500 TRX. Why more Ford and Chevy owners are switching to Ram than ever before. The power has shifted.
Vented where you want it. Cool when you need it. Cool Zone Fly from Fruit of the Loom.
Tenet is supercharged with energy and imagination. It's a scalp shredder, a skull mangler. It's gloriously ambitious, amazing cinema. Wow. Tenet. Big movies are back in theaters now. Rated PG-13.
What's he gonna chase? The slider? Nah. The changeup? Oh, I've got it. Curveball. Never halfway.
Hankook Tire.
All right, the story of this one starts in the 4th, and it was a rough defensive inning. First, Eric Sogard kicked that Javi Baez ground ball. Jason Hayward knocked in a run. Play at the plate, Keston Hiura coughed that one up. 2 infield errors, another bloop hit, and Adrian Hauser's inning just disintegrated. That was the best hit ball of the inning. A liner to left off of the bat of Ian Happ. That played at 2 runs. 5 total, all of them unearned. And so J.P. Feyereisen comes out of the bullpen for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Feyereisen, like his manager, a Wisconsin-born ball player. Pitched last Tuesday against the Tigers. Got 4 outs, gave up a couple of runs on a Candelario 2-run home run.
River Falls High School, and then University of Wisconsin Stevens Point.
Jordan Zimmerman went to that school.
I was just about to go there. Zimmerman was a terrific football player growing up in Wisconsin as well, a receiver. Here's Hayward. Back behind Arcia, and he's there and he makes the catch. So Feyereisen, that was easy. Now he's got Kipnis and Caratini. Fastball slider for Feyereisen, occasional changeup.
Most importantly, good stash.
That's almost a Milwaukee prerequisite. Right? I mean, Bernie Brewer is maybe the leader in the clubhouse for that. Kipnis did get an RBI back in the 4th. He's 0 for 2 in the game.
Now Kipnis is taking his second at bat with the infield in.
The virtual worlds of 2020. We're doing this game virtually, and I was a bit disappointed to find out that the sausage races in Milwaukee, which on Sundays are actually a relay, those are being held virtually this year.
No way.
I know.
I mean, that would be like going to Philadelphia and not seeing the Fanatic, right? I mean, there's such a big part of the whole experience, but the experience has changed. Craig Counsell was talking about it today. He tells his players, he said, one of the great things of being a major leaguer is it's called the show. Well, it's not the show this year. Nothing surrounding it makes it feel like the show.
Infield still in. Nottingham knocks it down. Yeah, they do the sausage races virtually, so if you have a charity or an event that you want and can be distanced in and around the Milwaukee area, the sausages will come, I believe, and race. And they put that online. Kipnis to left. Yelich circles. That should score a run. Schwarber coming home and hustling into third is Baez. Yelich does not have a strong arm in left, and the Cubs and Baez, aware of that, take advantage. Six nothing.
Well, a good professional at bat there by Kipnis. Fought that pitch off, got it deep enough to Kipnis to hit a sac fly. Now has 2 RBIs on today's game.
Craig Counsell has come out. And this is heated.
Trying to think what it could possibly be, whether it's Baez tagging up, taking off a little too early. And he wants them to take a look, and they won't. Or it doesn't seem like they want it.
Well, we're looking for it as well to see if Baez did leave early.
I think there's some frustration with the way his team's played, frustration with the home plate umpire in the strike zone, and it's all boiled over into this now for Counsell.
And he's been tossed.
And now he's been thrown. Yeah.
That was a rather gentle toss there from Ron Kulpa.
Well, the way he's gesticulating with his hands about distance, it's almost like he is talking about Baez at second base taking off, and I don't know whether the Brewers were trying to appeal and didn't do it correctly, or but Craig Counsell is going into the clubhouse.
Well, the argument is about the second run, is about Baez scoring. Now look, this is what happens when I'm in Atlanta and you're in New York and we're watching a game in Milwaukee and all we have is what you're watching on your screens as well.
Well, so obviously what has happened that we missed here
is
that Baez was thrown out at third base. So Baez was thrown out. That would have been the third out, and the runner wouldn't score. So watch the tag up at third base, of course, by. And then the throw into third.
No, he's not out.
That's no play there.
Did he go home? There he goes.
Oh, there it is.
And there he goes.
That's what it was.
And again, if you and I were sitting in Milwaukee, we would have seen that.
So what I guess what we're assuming now is that Craig Counsell probably thought the umpires had called time, and that's why he didn't think that Baez should have been able to go home on that. Sorry about that, folks.
7-0. That's all right. Here it is again. Now the run is already scored from third. Baez hustling. We did not have this shot. We cut away from this before he started his dash home, and the Brewers maintain that time was called. Although, and this is sort of CSI sitting in the studio, since the ball came from second base, Ron, do you think they threw to second, feeling he left early?
Did. Is that Sogard threw the ball to second base to check if Baez had left early, but when he threw it to second base, that's what Baez took off and went to home. So great play by Baez. So I don't know what the beef Counsell had, but you know, Craig is one of the smartest guys in the game and probably legit in whatever beef he had. But good play by Baez. Heads up.
Fireisen loses Caratini. And that brings up David Bodie.
I think that'll close the book on Adrian Hauser. 4+ innings. 7 runs, 2 of them earned, I think, will be the call.
Yeah, only 2 in this inning. The other 5 in the fourth were unearned. That's a fastball for a strike. Bodie's been hit by a pitch and has popped out.
So in a game the Brewers had to have, it's been a very sloppy game for them. It doesn't get any easier. They've got 5 games in 3 days against the Cardinals coming up here in Milwaukee.
They played the Cardinals 10 times. In the next 2 weeks. Pitches into Bodie. Pat Murphy, the bench coach for the Brewers, who had his own health scare earlier this year. Caratini at first. Again, not a lot of hits, only 4 hits for the Cubs. 3 errors, 5 walks, and a 7-0 lead. It's tough to quantify momentum in baseball, but certainly a lot of it was stolen from Milwaukee last night with the Jason Hayward home run. And it looks like somewhat of a hangover here on this Sunday for the Brewers. That ball is hit deep left field, and it is gone. David Bodie, his 6th. Went up and got it and hooked it around the pole. And the route is on. It's 9-0.
Rich, that's one of those pitches that is thrown about fence high, and Bodie hit it fence high as it just cleared the left field wall. You could hear by the loudness of the cheering on the bench for the Cubs that that ball was out as soon as he hit it.
So it's back to Happ, who's 1 for 3. He's knocked in 2.
So I think we came into this broadcast talking about the Cubs and their inability to score runs. Well, maybe last night's big hit by Hayward has gotten them where they need to be.
Into the shift. And the inning finally ends for the Brewers. Cubs add 4.
This right here, this is that new Powerade Power Water. That right there is me about to dunk so hard your ancestors will feel it. This is my team getting so hot the rock becomes a fiery ball of greatness. This is my squad raining so many threes, meteorologists will call this
Tropical Storm Buckets!
And this is me just getting started. New Powerade Power Water. More power from me.
Celebrate from anywhere. Catch up from anywhere. Dine in from anywhere. Anywhere is possible when your vehicle is serviced with Jiffy Lube Multicare. Your skilled technicians are here to help keep you and your vehicle moving forward. Anywhere is possible with Jiffy Lube.
Wendy's famous 4 for $4 is heating up with the new Spicy Crispy Chicken Sandwich. And yes, you can get it with spicy nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $4. Is it getting hot in here? Or did the Queen of Spice just deliver the hottest deal in fast food?
We love our new home. There's so much space.
We have a guest room now.
But we have ants.
You're slouching again, Ted.
Expired. Expired. Expired.
Thanks, Aunt Bonnie.
It's a lot of house. I hope you can keep it clean.
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
Which helps us save a lot of money.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request?
I'll have to check.
Aunt Joni's here.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
All right, we dissect this play. Again, Baez going from second to third. The run will score on the sac fly. Baez slides in. He's safe there. The Brewers apparently calling for an appeal at second. Baez sees the throw go to second. Watch Nottingham, the catcher. He's acting like time is out. He has the mask in his hand, standing in front of the plate. And that brought Craig Counsell out, and he was ejected.
Heads-up play by Baez. I don't think Counsell thought it was a heads-up play by the umpires.
Jed Jerko has popped out to open this inning, and we move ahead to further action in the bottom of the 5th. Ben Gamel, Orlando Arcia. Nine nothing Cubs in what has been a really tight series. On Friday night, 1-0 Milwaukee. Last night, 4-2 Cubs. This has gotten away from the Brewers. Meanwhile, Alec Mills, through all of this, has been splendid.
And you know, he's coming off 6 shutout innings in his last start against the Reds, so this is nice to see for David Ross and his staff. They're supposed to get Chatwood back, supposed to get Quintana back, but Hendricks and Darvish have been great. It'd be great to add Mills to that list.
Baez says he got it on the fly. He did. And Arcia will come to the plate. Well, the postseason is going to have just a completely different feel to it when the Cubs get there, and it looks like they will get there with a pretty comfortable lead, whether it's games behind, but at this point it's percentage points too.
Yes.
And there's no play-in games, so it's strictly winning percentage when you get to the end of the regular season. It looks like, especially in the National League, there could be teams that don't play as many games as the others. But there's no waiting around. It's 1 through 8 division. Winners are the first 3 seeds. Second place team are the next 3 seeds. And then you have 2 wild card, the best 2 records, and it's all math. There's no play-in games. Tiebreaker is head-to-head.
Yep.
Next tiebreaker is intra-division. And the next tiebreaker, I believe, is the last 20 in your division.
Well, what's going to be interesting, as you were saying before, that looks like those wild card series, 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, etc., will be in the home ballpark, and they'll be the best of 3. And then you'll go on to the division series with 4 teams left, and that'll be the best of 5. And then with the 2 teams remaining in each league, that'll be the championship series, and that will be the best of 7. Those last 2 series probably happening in a bubble.
RCL lines out. Alec Mills through 5 has not allowed a hit.
If we don't have live music, everybody will be lost.
If you want me to stay, I'll be around today to be available for you to see. I'll be so good. I wish I could get the message over to you now.
America's stages need our help.
For each stream of this song, Crown Royal will donate to these cultural landmarks.
Let's make sure they stay.
There's something magical that happens when Arby's combines melted provolone, fire-roasted peppers, and prime rib steak. Ta-da! Arby's, we have the meats.
Celebrate from anywhere. Catch up from anywhere. Dine in from anywhere. Anywhere is possible when your vehicle is serviced with Jiffy Lube. Your skilled technicians are here to help keep you and your vehicle moving forward. Anywhere is possible with Jiffy Lube.
She's always been Duke's favorite, but she's a loose cannon and a danger to the organization. I want her killed.
You need to go.
Who was responsible?
I'm not going to be able to protect you a second time.
Hi, man.
This film is not rated.
With FanDuel, it's easy to find the perfect fantasy contest no matter how you like to play. From beginners only to the Sunday Million and even all new snake drafts. But to make game day even more perfect, we found the perfect live halftime entertainment. Tap dancing.
No.
Here comes the good part.
I don't like it.
With FanDuel, there's no easier way to find your perfect fantasy contest. New users get a deposit match bonus up to $500.
MLB on TBS is brought to you by 365 by Whole Foods Market, the splurgiest way to save, and by Hyundai.
Sundays at Miller Park for everybody involved are always a great time, and in normal times it is a terrific tailgate situation. I mean, the tailgating at Miller Park for a day game is extraordinary. Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras, and Kyle Schwarber. But these are not ordinary times. That's one thing that Craig Counsell told us today. He said, I wish that the media or just the average fan could travel with us and watch what we go through on a daily basis in terms of protocol for safety, preparation for the game. How do you execute the clubhouse and the meals and the distancing?
said he's been proud of his team. They've been incredibly disciplined, not only on the field, but off the field. More importantly, this year, off the field.
Rizzo takes out. Now, Rizzo has struggled today. He has struck out 3 times. Cubs right now would have the 3 seed as the division winner. Their record not as good as the Braves. The Dodgers sit in the 1 seed in the National League. And the Brewers are in danger of falling 4 under. They don't even show up on these standings. And that first game in Miami against the Phillies has gone final. And so Miami is now 22-21. Giants are playing a doubleheader against the Padres. That is strike 3 called, and Rizzo has struck out 4 times. And that ties a career high.
They don't take him out, he's going to get another opportunity. Breaking ball, good one from Feyereisen at the top of the strike zone.
Adrian Hauser started. Gave up 7 runs, though just 2 of them earned. And here's Contreras. And when teams get to the postseason, in normal times you talk about starting rotations. And starting pitching takes you to the postseason and takes you to the World Series. I don't know if that's true this year. I know it's important, but it feels like teams who have the best bullpens have been able to keep pace with those that have the best starting pitching.
Well, I think teams are going to get exponentially better because it's their 3rd, 4th, and 5th starter, mostly 4th and 5th, that have really been a problem for almost every team in the game. So once you get to the post, hopefully you are only using 3 pitchers, maybe 4 if you've got a lead, and maybe using those starters in relief roles also.
Arcia over to first. Cubs bullpen has been much better of late.
Left fielder, number 12, Kyle
Schwarber
Rich,
now. Go ahead, Ronnie.
No, what I was just saying, what I find interesting on what we were talking about is that the game has changed as far as number of pitchers that teams have and use during the regular season. Some teams have 13, 14, 15 pitchers on their roster. But one thing that hasn't changed, once you get to the postseason, there's only about 6 or 7 that you want to use. And that'll always be the case.